Welcome back to Sorry Not Sorry. We're taking a look at Pierre completely rip a reporter and Mark Carney a new one in a recent press conference. All I ask is for you guys to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Let's get the channel to 1,000 subscribers as quickly as we possibly can. And without further ado, we're going to start off with the Frenchies right out of Quebec, talking about how time changes, you know, like daylight savings time, all that stuff, is literally a leading cause of heart attacks, strokes, and miscarriages. So we need to end time changes. Yeah, that's kind of weird. Let's have a look.
I'm very excited to share that I intend to present a private member's bill aimed at addressing the outdated practice of the biannual time change. This unnecessary barrier impacts the lives of Canadians in more ways than simply adjusting their clocks. It is proven to negatively impact our public safety. It also makes life hard on parents and on our most vulnerable seniors. And perhaps most importantly, it has tremendous health and mental health consequences that many of us may not realize. In fact, the data is clear. Study shows increases in heart attack, strokes, and even miscarriages following time changes. So my private member's bill will seek to ask the federal government to hold a pan-Canadian conference alongside their provincial and territorial counterparts, as well as our Indigenous partners, to formalize an agreement to end this practice and establish one set time in Canada. So, I believe Canada can be a leader on this matter and set the precedent to allow others to follow our lead.
You're going to have to let me know down in the comments how you feel about that one. I am not surprised that they say such crazy things. And now we're going to take a look at Pierre, who says that, well, this is an upcoming litmus test for Mark Carney. Let's take a look at his witty response.
Do you agree with your Premier that a new West Coast pipeline is a litmus test for whether Canada still works and whether we can still build things in this country?
Almost. I think it's a litmus test for Mark Carney. There was a lot of grandiose promises by Mr. Carney during the election that he would build, baby, build faster than you'd ever imagined we could build. So when is this building going to happen? Here we are, 6 months after he took office, and the new Liberal government looks an awful lot like the old Liberal government. The last 6 months looks an awful lot like the last 10 years, where they block, baby, block. So there's only one person who will decide if this pipeline gets built, and it's Mark Carney. So I would encourage you all to ignore provincial politicians who have no authority in this matter. Like, the reality is the federal government has the full authority over interprovincial pipelines. So there's one man who stands in the way of this pipeline getting built. It's Mark Carney. If the Liberals want it built, they will immediately repeal the tanker ban so the pipe can fill a ship that goes abroad, the production cap so that our producers can make enough oil to go in the pipe, and C-69 so that the pipe can get rapidly approved. Mark Carney really only has to do one thing. Get out of the way. Get out of the way. I will note there is some good news, followed by bad news. Canadian pipeline companies are building pipelines. That's the good news. Terrible news. They're building them in the United States of America without taxpayer support. Enbridge is building 2 pipelines right now in the U.S. without taxpayer money. TransCanada Pipelines is building $8.5 billion of brand new projects in the United States without taxpayer money. But here in Canada, Mark Carney is in the way. So my message to Mark Carney, get out of the way so that Canadians can get building a pipeline. That's the way we send our resources to 2.5 billion Asian customers, so we're no longer reliant on the Americans for all of our exports.
That's where Pierre thrives. He is phenomenal going up against reporters and in question period in real freaking time. That's not the only slam dunk that he had against Mark Carney. There's also this tiny little highlight reel that we're going to take a look at Pierre Poilievre's recent appearance in question period going up against Mark Carney. Here's the clip.
Will the Prime Minister finally scrap Liberal bail, or better yet, get out of the way so that we can do the jobs ourselves?
Yeah, man.
This government is bringing forward comprehensive bail reform. This comprehensive bail reform is based on extensive consultations with the provinces and territories. It's based on extensive discussions with law enforcement. It is based on evidence. It is not based on cut and paste American bail laws. It's a bail law that works. We are tough on crime.
Oh my God. He's gaslighting the whole nation.
To see the Prime Minister rant and rave and point his finger at police after they have been crying out for this government to scrap Liberal bail for years. We have Constable Greg Pershella, who was killed by a man released yet again on bail. We have a woman killed by her husband after he was arrested and released 30 times because of Liberal laws. We have 1,600 crimes every single day in this country because of the Liberal laws. Will he stop screaming, hollering, and jabbing his finger and scrap Liberal bail?
This government, which has been in place for 6 months, has undertaken comprehensive consultations with law enforcement, with the provinces, based on evidence, is bringing forward the toughest bail legislation and sentencing legislation that will work, not one imported from the United States.
And finally, we're going to take a look now at Premier of Alberta, Danielle Smith, who wishes that she could have redrawn the line of Alberta. You know how Donald Trump is constantly saying that, I don't know who drew that line to make Canada, but it's weird and we're going to make the 51st state. Well, Danielle Smith feels that exact same way about Alberta because British Columbia has some things that Alberta would very much like. Here's the clip.
If we had been able to redraw the map at the founding of Alberta, maybe we would have drawn it with a little bit of British Columbia so that we had a port. Maybe Port of Prince Rupert would have been part of Alberta as opposed to part of British Columbia. But we didn't have the luxury of doing that. Instead, to make sure that we were a country, we built the Trans-Canada Railroad, we built the Trans-Canada Highway. We've partnered with British Columbia to ensure that their natural gas can make it through Alberta, through a pipeline to get to the U.S. market. And we've wanted to make sure that all of the goods that come into British Columbia, into their ports, have free entry and free access through Alberta. That's the deal that we have. I think that coastal provinces have a special obligation to be generous in making sure that we're creating access to ports for all of our products. I know that Alberta shares that view. I have not publicly opposed any project that has been proposed by any of my premierial counterparts. I'm very supportive of any of their aspirations, and we're going to make sure that we can find areas of common ground. I would say about this project in particular, it was approved. It was going to go ahead, and yet a political decision canceled it. So this was a shovel-ready project some 10 years ago, and now it's a matter of seeing with the technical changes, with some of the advancement technology, with some of the things that we know about building to the coast, with some of the new expectations about Indigenous equity ownership. Now we're going to see if we can revitalize that and maybe have a shortcut because it was ready to go just a short time ago.
Let me know down in the comments what you guys think of this video and what your favorite parts of this video were. All I ask in return is for you guys to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you all in another video. Bye for now.